Hello and welcome to this edition of Diaspora Central Spotlight. Ladies and gentlemen, with me today in the studio is a young lady that is definitely trying and doing her best in making a difference in our communities. She is engaged, she is involved, she's taking this bull by the horns to make sure that he goes in the direction that he needs to go. If he pertains to diaspora, she is engaged, she is involved, she's got her hands in it. Akachi, welcome to Diaspora Central Spotlight.
Thank you, Brother Gil. Thank you for having me. I'm super honored to be here. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. You know, like, let's go. Let's
Indeed, yeah. It's gonna be a good conversation because you know what? We like to start our conversations with accolades, and I must give you one first. In all honesty, the first thing that I found very interesting about you was the fact that to you, the authenticity and essence of representing Africa was always a must. Okay, that has to come from somewhere, right? It doesn't just happen.
No,
It's got to be their family, community. I don't know. Something has got to normally lead you to it. So throughout this conversation, we're going to try to connect this back to the heritage. And on the same note, we're going to go from your inspirations to your aspirations.
okay.
Yeah?
That sounds good.
All right, so let's go ahead and get ourselves started. Country of birth.
Country of birth is the United States
Yeah.
of America.
What state?
Yeah, U.S. of A. Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh wow.
Yeah, born and
Up
raised
north.
there.
Yeah, mid. I mean, it's Midwest,
It
but
snows
it's
before
yeah.
global warming,
Right.
right?
Indeed. Yeah. So, Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah, I've been. As a matter of fact, I went through there once when I decided to drive from here to DC.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went straight up. I think it was 75, and then I cut across to West Virginia, then Washington DC. Yeah.
Cool.
So what ends up bringing you to Texas?
Houston. So I always felt like I wanted to leave
Okay.
Nashville, not because I needed to get out of there per
Okay.
se, right? But just exploration wise.
Got
You got
you.
to see the world. I wanted to live somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so it actually worked out when my mom remarried.
Okay.
My stepfather, his job sent him to Houston.
Mm.
And so my senior year, even though I was going to stay in Nashville, I came to school here at the last minute.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you moved in your senior year of high school.
At the end of my senior
Oh,
year.
at the end
like
of your
right
senior year.
after
So you graduated and then
yeah,
you moved.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep,
Okay.
I was actually
Cool.
going to go to college up there and then came down here.
Got
so.
you. And you ended up going to college here though.
Yes.
Okay. What school did you go to?
I started out at Texas Southern for 1 year and then I finished at University of Houston main campus.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So let's what about elementary school?
Elementary school. Oh wow. You're taking me back.
Yeah, that
Elementary school.
That far back.
You know, hey, time is moving. But elementary school brings back a lot of different memories because I went to a predominantly white school in the suburbs
Okay.
in Hermitage. It's literally called The Hermitage. It's home of Andrew Jackson.
Okay.
And so I had some unique experiences, positive and negative. And, you know, it was always an exciting thing if you saw someone else who looked like you in your class that year. Like if there was one other person, maybe two other people, it was like, yes, we're winning.
Yeah.
So, you know, elementary school, I feel like was a time period where I wish I was more acculturated in who I was because there were it was like you're seen as like other than exceptional to black people, as if that was a compliment to me by teachers, really, like you're not like the rest of them. You know, that sort of thing. And then at the same time just trying to maneuver through finding your way and like who you are and just recognizing certain systematic things that were going on.
So in other words, figuring out your purpose.
Yes.
Yeah. So now I guess there were specific teachers that probably somewhat became of influence to you at some point. Yeah. Do you remember their names still?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You can name them and the school if you want to.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, you have to shout them out, you know.
Yeah, go on.
If they catch this or hear this somewhere, you know, I think it's always I'm sure it feels good for them to have so many students pass through and then, you know, hear that they did make an impact. And so starting out, I would say Miss Malik, she was my 3rd grade teacher, Black woman.
Okay.
And it was for the first time that I really felt like at home, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was nice. And then definitely, oh my goodness, you got me thinking now. There's some other ones, but just right now that stands out, I have to say Miss Catherine Ples, my 11th grade English teacher.
Okay.
You know, she really put me on my path even more as an avid reader, because I read when I was a child and I was writing, but like to really consider like, okay, you're a writer, like write, read, you know. And at that time also, that was the first time that I had a teacher that gave us books to read, you know, assigned books to read that were by Black authors.
Okay.
So, you know, that started me out on that journey to read, you know, from our writers. Yeah. So she's like another mother to me in so many ways. So I'm still in touch with her to this day. So.
Oh, that is a great thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that is definitely a great thing. Now, when, of course, there's always that bit of a shock when you get to Texas, right? And I'm assuming that, okay, that introduction to Black writers, is that also what brings you closer to Africa, or when does that connection happen?
That's an interesting point. Yeah. I would say it was always there. It was something I was reaching for, something I was searching for. Okay. And something that I was gradually finding. Oh, Miss Turner. Shout out to Miss Turner. 10th grade African American Studies. Yeah. Yes. She took us, we went to HBCUs down in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you visited Spelman and Morehouse.
Yes, Morehouse.
Oh, wow. In Clark.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
So, you know, I think it was something I was always reaching towards because, you know, Tennessee is I know it's changing demographically now, right. But it was always very much black and white. And so, you know, there was a clear dichotomy of the differences culturally, the differences in socioeconomic standing. And so I was always looking and seeking, and there were different points, I would say, not one point, but multiple inflection points that just kept bringing me closer and closer. Gotcha. So, of course, you know, taking that class, 10th grade year, reading those books, 11th grade year. She also, Miss Ples, took me to Fisk University and took me to, like, Black bookstores and North Nashville, which was, and still is, but it was it was like an epicenter of Blackness. Oh, okay. And so I was learning about the history and culture, and I always loved history, but, you know, I had never heard that story, right?
There you go. Yeah.
So, you know, those experiences and hearing the Fisk Jubilee singers, you know, like that was powerful. Right. You know, to stand on that campus and just all of these powerful icons that have gone through that campus and graduated and done so many great things, obviously W.E.B. Du Bois and so many others. So I think that it's been a journey, you know, the entire time. Yeah. And of course, I mean, I take it that, okay, religion or community had to also play an influence in there somewhere. Yes. You know, and I have to bring this up too. There's a book by Nathan McCall. Okay. And this is the title is escaping me right now, but it was based in D.C. and he was makes me want to holler. Oh, there you go. And I read that book. I want to say when I was about 16 years old. Okay. And a book by Faraya Shadea, and she's a journalist, writer, author. And those two books were two of the books. No, I'll say there was four. Black Boy by Richard Wright. Okay. And Maya Angelou's works. And then those two that I just mentioned, Faraya Shadea, I can't think of the name right now. But Nathan McCall makes me want to holler. I worked at a library when I was in high school, and so I loved being around books. Yeah, I did the same thing. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, interesting enough. Yes. Yeah. Shout out to Lackey High School. Yes. Hermitage Branch Library. That was my spot. And so those books, I think, helped bring me closer from a more analytical point, because Nathan McCall's book was talking about what was beginning, or I don't even think it was the beginning, but gentrification that was taking place in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And so I was becoming familiar with, these structures and systems and, just always trying to figure out the world, how it works and what's my role and how does it fit with me in it and people who look like me. Yeah. And so as far as community, to come back around to that, I was a Girl Scout.
Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of embarrassed.
No, like no. I mean,
listen, it was good, cool, but it was
there are good, valuable things that one can learn at the Girl Scout or Boy Scout clubs.
Yes, right? it was. And so, my church is where my troop was
based.
Based out of. And so, I was around, impeccable women, Miss Joan, Miss Valerie, them leading by example as women, one of them single, one of them married with children, but still pouring into us.
Gotcha.
It wasn't just like, okay, my family's fine,
Yeah.
It was like, no, I still have to give back. And so being around them, that was it was pivotal for me, as well as dance. I danced in high school. Yeah. So my dance coaches, Miss Brown, shout out to her.
Right.
And Miss Dawn. And, I think all of them were HBCU grads, right?
Okay.
So the culture's coming through.
So at that point, you're basically being exposed to.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, was it a big shock to you?
What was a big shock?
Actually figuring out that, oh, wow, there's actually this big network of HBCUs. There's actually an avenue that I can take that maybe I feel more comfortable in it.
I would say no, only because the church that I went to was full of HBCU grads. Gotcha. I mean, like literally, Founders Day was a real thing. Okay. Like you showed up to church and like the sisters had on red or they had on pink and green. So, it was around me. Gotcha. To the point where when I was in high school, I actually thought for sure that I would pledge a Greek. Yeah.
But I didn't. You didn't pledge?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. But that is still a good thing, though. So eventually, actually, let's back a little bit into the family, because you did mention them. You did mention the name of the parents. You can if you want to.
Oh, yes. My mother, Catherine.
Okay.
My father, Frederick, may he rest in peace. He passed when I was 4 years old.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. May definitely he rest in peace. And what about your stepfather?
My stepfather, Paul Masson.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, these are sort of kind of big influences in a person's life right now. Did you have any siblings?
No siblings. I'm the only one.
You are the only child.
Yes.
Oh, wow, that is you're the boss.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. No, but let's go ahead and take our break real quickly, and we'll be back. We just kind of want to take a few images of things that you do, because when we get back, we want to talk about how you got into music, into drumming, and things of that sort, right? Okay. How did that actually get to happen? We actually have about a minute, so let's go ahead and talk about drumming. When do you get introduced to drumming?
Wow. So the drum is interesting because I was called to the drum. I never planned on drumming. I didn't even know that women played the drum. So, African drumming was something I basically recalled only seeing men. And I came into that because I was exposed to it in the Houston community. Okay. For those that are familiar with the Shape Center, the Shrine of the Black Madonna's Cultural Center in 3rd Ward. Okay. So that's when I was first, around drumming. Went to a drum circle, and just, I felt it, and it was like, I don't know, am I supposed to do this? But, it kept tugging at me, right? And I'm like, where do I even get one of these drums? And, all of that. And I just remember it just hit me like I'm supposed to drum. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know who would teach me. I knew there were drummers because I had seen plenty of the men, the brothers, you know, out there drumming. But I was like, okay, I'm just going to get one. And so I did. So I just trusted, that. Yeah.
So you ended up buying one?
I ended up
getting
offered
one?
The first one, I did order from an African import store, and it was from Senegal, handmade, of course.
So which drum did you get?
It's a djembe.
You got the djembe,
yes.
Okay. And that's what you still play today?
Yes, that's what I started out with, but now that drum was passed down, rightfully so, in a very beautiful way. After one of my teachers, cultural teachers, passed, he was the first person to teach me to drum.
Okay.
One of his students, her children wanted a drum for Kwanzaa.
Okay.
And she was like, I can't find one. They're so expensive. And it just worked out. Like, I gave it to her at a really good deal.
There you go.
And I felt so good for her family to have it. So
no, that's definitely a good thing. So let's go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be back so we can talk about your adventures in Houston, what you're doing with the community, for the community, and of course to ensure that we are doing good. We'll be right back.
Here at OMSI, we believe that every child deserves a chance to thrive, no matter who they are or where they live, and that opportunities help a child to develop and build precious imagination. A healthy and imaginative mind can see the possibilities of the future, and a child with a future can weather the storms of life if given the right tools and the chance. Sponsoring a child helps a child to eat, get an education, have good health care, and gain a friend and mentor in you. I know you want to know more. Sponsor a child by visiting AfricanWomenCommission.net.
And we are back. If you just joined us, you're now tuned into Diaspora Central Spotlight with Gil Ingles, and my guest today is Akachi. Yes, the lady drummer, the lady. She also does spoken word, so you're into a lot of other things just aside from drumming and spoken word. Now, professionally, what do you do?
So I am an independent journalist. Okay. Building Blafrican, which is a digital publication. I've worked in journalism. Yeah. And that's a task in and of itself.
Yeah, I can understand.
That's a task in and of itself. Yeah. Also do digital marketing. Okay. But, the focus is Blafrican.
Got you.
Yes.
Got you. Blafrican.
Yes.
Yeah. So now what exactly led you to coming up with this concept and this effort?
I would say a lot of it is ancestral. Okay. It was spirit led. And I've always been told I should write. Okay. And I ran from it. It's weird how we know certain things and we run from it. And I finally decided, once I worked for a publication here in Houston, and it was right for me, right? Because I had already done film before, some acting and dance in high school, like all the arts, media, that's all my lane, photography, you name it. And
so you basically have always been, I guess, a visual artist or some sort of an artist, right?
Yes, but that's always been like the. It's in short, it was a conflict, right? Gotcha. Because I'm also very analytical. Okay. Right. So I studied economics.
So you are basically an artist and a lawyer and an economist and an accountant all in one. You're a business person.
It's something like that, right? And so I felt like it was a conflict because when you're in school, the arts, right? Nobody. I'm just gonna keep it real. People don't really respect that. Like if you say you want to do film or something, it's like, oh, economics, great, good. That sounds so hard, you know. So it was like, and then before that, it was the sciences. So I've always had an interest in science and politics, business, but the arts as well. So trying to navigate that, right? And fit in my lane and be okay with it, be confident in that. And so after working at the newspaper and once I left there, I knew that this is what I was supposed to do.
Got you. And what paper was it?
African American News and Issues.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
And so, I knew that our story needed to be told, both from the diaspora as well as on the continent. Yeah. And also, to give voice to our scholarly thought leaders. Because while I appreciate, the democratization of, everything, right, almost like media, I feel like some of the voices that are being drowned out that we really need to hear are our actual scholars.
Indeed.
You know, people who are experts, people who've been doing this work for decades, some even longer than we've been alive, right?
Right.
And helping us to, you know, better analyze and understand who we are, where we are, and where we're going, and how to get there.
Right.
So, Blackfrican for me is that, as well as a number of other things in terms of media and journalism. Yeah.
Got you. So basically, a very intellectual, sounds like a very intellectual outlet of information for the community. Yeah. Now you involved in several other things in the community also. Tell us about it.
Yes. So. A drummer, it's now something I had to own, especially as of, I owned it before, but especially as of this past weekend.
Okay.
So we had a guest who came in. There was what's called Caravan to the Ancestors.
Okay.
It's an event that's been taking place for 25 years from the National Black United Front, where, you know, I didn't make it this year. I've only been once, but people go to Galveston, and there's a lot of rituals, traditions, just remembering of those who crossed.
Yeah, I think I seen something about it when they all dress in white. I believe white. They wrap themselves in white, and there's someone giving instructions that you must follow. And I did see something.
Yes,
like
it's open, you know, to all African people and all different African belief systems, or if you're not a believer, but just to remember. And so one of the special guests who came into town was Mama Charlotte O'Neill. So that's someone you want to definitely look into, Mama Charlotte O'Neill. And, you know, I ended up drumming for her at her second event on Sunday.
Okay.
And that was pretty impromptu. I wasn't planning on it. I was like, I'm just going to sit here and mind my business and be an audience member. But I was being tugged that, you know, I had an obligation to bring in my drum.
Gotcha.
Because she was going to perform with the traditional instrument similar to a kora.
Okay.
Anyone familiar with that? And so I listened. You know, my drum was in the car, so I got it. And what transpired after that, though, and, you know, how it moved the people. I mean, literally, probably a dozen or more people were dancing for about 15 minutes.
Wow.
And that was when I knew, like, okay, I can't be in the shadows when it comes to this. You know, I have to really own it because that was a powerful moment.
Yeah. Now, for your family, was that a shock when they started seeing you kind of really turning into this Afrocentric person? What was mom's and stepdad's or dad's reaction?
I would say no to some degree because, you know, I'm exploratory. I'm a Sag.
There you go.
So I mean, that's always been me. You know,
they knew that you were gonna go somewhere. They just didn't quite know where.
Yeah, I mean, as far as, you know, the arts and just you know, dance or film or. I think someone who knew me wouldn't be so much of a shock, right?
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, most of the time it's like a person takes a look at you. I mean, I know I can take a look at a person just based on how they dressed. I can kind of pretty much guess where they kind of stand in regards to certain things, and you do have that specific, and you have this specific aura about you. You see, and you know, okay, you're looking at someone that has got definitely some great thing going on. You just gotta sit back and watch. And
wow, thank you.
Yeah, and one of the things that impressed me a lot when it comes to you, and now I understand why, is actually your journalism background, is how eloquent you are, right? Because every so often you may see people who may just be very repetitive on the same specific things, right? Very little vocabulary, you know, kind of like I just limited, right?
Yes.
And not
right.
that they, because if they haven't been exposed to that, they just not gonna know better.
Right.
But they try to manage with it. In your case, it's kind of entirely different. You are really very eloquent. You use words that require a person to have to look for them in a dictionary, and that's a good thing.
Yes.
That is a good thing, right? Because one of the things that I think our community also needs is really something that I think for some reason I believe that we lost it somewhere around the mid-90s, because prior to that we did used to have it, even as hip-hop music was being birthed. I mean, it was like it was all about eloquence, pulling words that people didn't know or hear, so that can go and research it and use them, and all of a sudden it's like this thing just took, like, I don't know, a turn somewhere to where
mumbling.
To everybody's, it's like, goodness gracious, but anyway, so back in the vocabulary, really you're very eloquent, and that's a good thing. So in regards to your project, journalism project, the one that you're currently running, which is Blafrican.
Yes.
So Blafrican.
Yes.
That's gonna be a name to remember. Blafrican. What can the community do in order to assist the project to move forward? Or is there anything that the community can do to help the project move forward?
Well, I would say right now the community is doing a good job in terms of being receptive. I'm pleased with the feedback that I'm getting from people. Dr. Watts had just recently written up 10 things that the Woman King got right, because there was some disinformation and misinformation that was swirling around in the YouTube sphere surrounding the movie. And, I've been getting good feedback from people who are engaged and who are reading. So I would just encourage people to continue to read.
Okay.
Literacy, as you were speaking of, and just, I see us, and I always have seen us really, especially after going to Fisk.
Okay.
Visiting Fisk. I didn't graduate from there. But it's just these intellectuals, these brilliant minds. And, people who, if you look at different movements, these people were educated. And it doesn't mean that you can't be formally educated, right. to lead. Right. But what I'm saying is, even those people who were not, they were well-read, they were very analytical. Indeed. And I think that we have to hold that up high in terms of a value for our community and for our people. And so, just in short, one of the other things that I was part of pre-COVID was Black University. Okay. And so I was one of the co-founders and organizers of that. And that was a series of workshops that we did, from reconciliation between the diaspora and continental Africans, financial literacy, healing and wellness, financial, I think I already mentioned that. Yeah. But just a host of different subjects dealing with, Black women and African women reclaiming their throne, not disparaging one another, our names and how we view each other, how we carry ourselves, what are things that are important to us. So just a host of different workshops. And so I'm looking forward to, I think COVID is kind of dying down, to kind of get back to doing some of those workshops, or workshops similar to that, probably with Blafrican. And perhaps also maybe with in conjunction with Black University. Yeah. So.
And I think we're probably eventually gonna have to do something in collaboration with Diaspora Central, because I really like your project, and I think that it's something important, something definitely that the community needs to. So how can people reach Blafrican?
So you can reach Blafrican on all social media platforms. Okay. BLAFROKAN. That's Twitter. That's Instagram. It's Facebook. Oh yeah, we're not on TikTok, but and you can follow me as well, right? Cosmic Kachi. Okay. KOSMIC. Kachi, KACHI. On Twitter and on Instagram, and then Akachi Azubuike on Facebook. Okay. So yeah.
All right. Listen, Akachi, it's been a pleasure having you here.
It's been a pleasure to talk with you as always.
Yeah. Is there anything that I should have asked you that I may not have asked you?
I wouldn't say there's anything that you should have asked me, but I will say one thing that's been pivotal when I go back to what you said about my parents was the spiritual aspect. I was very nervous, in branching away from how I was raised as Christian into, Igbo traditional spirituality. So I'm Chiist, and that's central to who I am, because when you were asking like what was the point or some of the points, it's always been internal.
Gotcha.
That's just been leading me this path. So
Now, are any of your parents Africans?
Yes, my parents are African, born in the United States. Okay. you know, my lineage
Mm-hmm.
is Nigerian.
Okay.
I haven't yet met some of my Nigerian family, but I know of who they are.
Okay.
And that's going to be another interesting aspect of the journey. And I'm Igbo, so yeah.
Got you. Have you gone to the continent yet?
Oh, yes, I have. I'm
Okay.
going to Nigeria next year.
Okay, so you're going to Nigeria next year. But have you already been?
Uh-huh.
Okay, you've been before.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so definitely Nigeria.
Yes.
So we can take you to Angola and claim you.
Oh.
As an
Hey, you know, I said, you know, for me,
Mhm.
I'm an ambassador to African people.
Okay,
So I'm Angolan to the Angolan.
There you go.
Kenyan to the Kenyan.
okay.
Because I feel like that's who we need to be with one another without dropping who you are, of
Right.
course. But we need to meet each other in that space
Definitely.
to connect.
Yeah, and there you have it. An African for Africans.
Yes.
All right, Akachi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And to those of you that have taken your time to listen to this interview, remember one thing. Eventually, you got to find yourself. And no one else will do it for you but yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, peace.